Good morning, and all right, here we go. I'm just going to post a link to my website in the chat if you're interested in connecting or checking out some other stuff. And we'll go ahead and get started in Shavasana, lying down, maybe on your back in traditional Shavasana if that's comfortable for you. And wherever is comfortable on your mat, go ahead and lie down and we'll get started. Just a moment. All right. Okay. Start on the backs. We're going to start with some breathing. Waking up our bodies. This is more of a sitters. So if you are in any of those categories, this should feel pretty good. I'm going to put one hand over your belly and one hand over your heart. And we'll start easing in to the breath. But first, let it come naturally. And just feel your body. Part of the practice today, while we get into some stretchy bits, might be a little bit uncomfortable. But if you feel any pain, please pull back. Listen to your body. Ease into the discomfort of stretching, but pull back if there's pain. And part of the practice today will be a little bit intuitive questioning of your own body. So, as you lay here, maybe do a quick body scan from your head, down your neck, through your spine to your shoulders, down through your ribs, to your low back, to your hips, through your legs, your heels and your arms, and really feel everything that's touching the ground. In yoga, we like to use the ground, use gravity, rooting down into the ground. Everything starts there. And notice if anything's feeling off in your body. Modify as you see fit. All right, we'll start increasing the volume of our inhales, starting by filling up the belly. Feel your lower hand reach up to the sky as it's gently placed on your belly, and then finish the inhale by expanding your chest and feel that second hand lift all the way up to the top, and hold it for a second in, and then release the opposite way. Exhale first from the chest, and then down into the belly, releasing all the air out of your body, and taking a moment after the exhale. And then inhaling to the belly first, up into the chest, hold for a second, and exhale through the chest, down to the belly. Doing this 2 more times, holding for a second after your exhale. Inhaling into the belly, chest, hold, exhale, chest, belly, hold. Inhale through the belly, through the chest, hold, Exhale to the chest and then the belly. And then start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Maybe reaching your arms up, away from your feet. Get a nice stretch across your body. And then with your arms over your head, you can always bend at your elbows if your shoulders are tight. Bring your feet together, and if you can, bring your hands to touch. It's okay if it feels like your upper arms are touching your ears, that's fine here. And go ahead and reach your hands and your feet over to the right, but keep your butt on the ground. You can walk your heels one at a time over to the edge of your mat, and then maybe reach your head and your shoulders and your hands over to the right, forming a little banana shape. Letting a nice side stretch through the left body, left side body here. This is a banana asana, as we call the shapes and postures of the physical yoga practice, asana. And this one looks like a banana. Holding here for a few breaths. Can you reach your left shoulder blade down into the ground? Maybe getting a nice stretch through that upper arm, down through the side. Wherever you are, getting a little bit more of a stretch. Or easing up. One more big breath. Inhale here. And exhale, release. Come back to center and realign yourself. Try and reach your hands away from your feet, lengthening through your spine and your legs and your arms. And then slowly walk your heels over to the left edge of your mat. Reach your arms over to the left edge of the mat. And just the right side body is reaching towards the right side. Feeling a nice stretch here on your side body. And throughout this practice, see if you can keep that belly breath, what we started. Really deep inhale through the belly. Maybe reaching your right shoulder blade down towards the ground to get a nice stretch through that right upper arm, side body. Maybe keeping your eyes closed or closing them if you have them open. One more breath here. Release. Come back through center. One more long stretch through your arms and your legs. And then go ahead and bring your knees in towards your chest. Give them a little hug. We're just getting started, so don't feel like you need to bring them all the way into your chest. Maybe do some little circles with your knees on the ceiling. One direction a few times, and then switching directions. And then seeing if you can hug them just a little bit tighter. Maybe wrapping your arms around your knees or your shins. Maybe trying to reach your tailbone down to the ground. And then release both feet down to the ground, soles of your feet planted behind your hips. And then bring your right knee in towards your chest and cross the right ankle over your left knee for a little figure four stretch. If this is good right here and you're feeling a nice stretch through this right hip, stay here. If you need more, start to bring your left knee into your chest, maybe picking up that left foot, maybe interlacing your fingers behind your left thigh, pulling it in, making sure that you flex through that right foot, flexing the toes back towards your right knee, and pressing that right knee away from your chest as you pull the left knee in towards your chest. If this starts to bother your knee, go ahead and put it down. But if you're feeling good, maybe pull it in tighter. Maybe use your right elbow to press that right knee away from you. Trying to keep the hips and the whole spine long on the ground. Keeping all the natural curves through your spine if you can. Natural curves of the low back, just touching the mat. and your neck arching off of the mat with your middle back and hips touching the ground. Holding here for one more breath. Big belly inhale. And then as you exhale, let the sole of the right foot reach towards the ground across your body, coming into a gentle spinal twist here with your figure four legs. If this is too much for your outer hip, you can stack both knees on top of each other for a gentle spinal twist. Or you can keep your right sole of your foot planted on the ground to get a nice outer hip stretch. You can play around with that knee falling in or pressing away. Reaching your arms out long to a T in line with your shoulders. Seeing if you can get both shoulder blades onto the mat. Breathing here, big belly inhale. And as you exhale, release into it. Let gravity do the work. One more breath here. And on your next inhale, go ahead and stack your right knee on top of your left knee. And then start to bring both knees back up to the sky, soles of the feet on the ground behind your hips. Resetting for the other side. Go ahead and keep your right sole of your foot planted, bringing that left knee in towards your chest, flexing through the left foot, and then stacking that left ankle over your right knee for a gentle figure four stretch. If this is a good place for you, stay here. If you need more, go ahead and reach that right knee in towards your chest, maybe interlacing your fingers behind the right thigh. Keeping your left toes flexed towards your left knee to protect that knee. And as you pull that right knee in towards your chest, press that left knee away from your face. Getting a nice stretch to the hips. And breathing here. Big belly inhales. Releasing. And the exhales. If you're feeling good and need more, you can bring that right knee in more towards your chest and use that left elbow to press that left knee away from your chest. Wherever you are, one more breath. Gently release the interlace of your fingers if you have them interlaced behind your right thigh, and go ahead and let the sole of your left foot start to reach over your body to plant on the ground by your right hip. Releasing that right knee and thigh to the ground for a little supine twist here. Maybe reaching your arms out to a T in line with your shoulders. You can play around with that placement of the foot, maybe reaching it further up towards your hip or keeping it away towards your knee. Using that right bent leg as sort of a gauge there. And then you can also play around with having the knee pressing away from your chest or letting it fall in slightly, getting a nice T-band stretch through the outer hip. Wherever you are, let gravity do some work. And take a nice big belly inhale. And release it all. We exhale. One more breath here. And go ahead and pick the sole of the left foot up off the ground so you can stack both knees on top of each other in this twist. Before you then pull your knees back up to the sky, planting the soles of both feet on the ground. And we'll hug our knees in one more time here. Maybe rolling side to side, giving yourself a little back massage. And then start rolling up and back long along your spine. Because we're going to come up through seated into an all fours position. Whenever you're ready to have enough momentum, crossing over on the ankles and coming up into your all four quadruped position. Making sure that your wrists are under your shoulders and your knees are under your ankles. You can keep the tops of your feet pressing into the ground or tucking the toes, whatever feels best for your knees. And setting up here, pressing into your hands and your knees, finding a really long spine, reaching your tailbone away from the crown of your head, broadening through the backs of the shoulders. See if you can wrap your upper arms in towards your body, trying to get your elbow pits to reach the front of the room. And we'll go through a couple cat-cows. So as you inhale, reach your chest forward through your arms, reach your tailbone to the sky, maybe look up, big belly inhale. And as you exhale, round your back to the sky, squeeze out that air. Inhale and filling the belly, reaching your chest forward and your tailbone up. And exhale, dome your back, squeeze it out. Going at your own pace. 2 more times. Inhaling through your cow. And exhaling through your cat. Last time, biggest breath yet. Fully inhale, expand. And then exhale, squeeze all that air out. Then come back to neutral. We'll do a couple hip circles. So let your hips fall over to the right slightly, and then reach them back towards your heels, and then towards your left side, and then back up through center, maybe forward a little bit. You can always just go, if you don't want to do circles, you can go side to side, just wagging your dog tail, hips side to side, maybe starting to side bend through the spine, looking towards the hip of the opposite side. So if your hips are falling over to the left, look over at your right hip. If they're falling over the right, look over your left hip. If you're feeling good there, maybe work on your circles, reaching your hips back to one side, and then through center on the other side. Cracking through the knees. No breathing here. Feeling those side hips. And then change direction. You were circling one direction, shift to the other direction. A few times on this side, evening things out. Long breath. Spreading the fingers and seeing if you can press it, the entire length of each finger into the mat. So you're not putting too much weight in the wrists. One more full breath, one more full hip circle, and then back through center. And then shift your hips back and come back into a child's pose. Bring the toes together and the knees widen the hips with distance, if that feels okay with you. Maybe you're wiggling your hips side to side, seeing if you can get your hips lower towards your heels. Maybe releasing your forehead to the ground. And then reach your fingertips away from your chest. And then start spider walking your hands over to the left, walking on your fingertips. Seeing if you can take your hands to the left edge of your mat or off your mat. And then release your chest, over that left knee, getting a nice side stretch through the right side body. Seeing if you can wrap your upper arms down, getting a nice stretch through the side right shoulder. One full big belly inhale here. Exhale, let gravity assist you. On your next inhale, go ahead and walk your fingers back through center. Taking a moment to reset, reaching your hands away from your hips. Long spine here. And start to walk your fingers over to the right edge of your mat or off your mat. Letting your hips sink deeper, maybe bringing your chest more towards that right knee. Maybe releasing your head in your practice to reach to the ground or towards the ground, maybe shaking it a little bit, releasing any tension in the neck. Maybe reaching your elbow pits to the sky. Getting a nice stretch through the full left side body. One big belly inhale here. Exhale, release. On your next inhale, go ahead and walk your hands back to center. Reach long spine here, your fingertips away from your toes. And then bring your arms down, if you can, to the sides of your shins. Releasing that work through the shoulder, wrapping your arms around your legs, sinking into your child pose just for one breath. Big belly inhale. And exhale. Reach your hands back in front towards the front of the mat. And we're going to tuck our toes and lift the hips up and back to downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. As you are in your first down dog, go ahead and do whatever you need to do. Maybe bending one knee at a time to pedal the feet out. If your calves and hamstrings are tight, maybe wiggle the hips side to side. If your hips are tight, maybe bending the elbows and finding the right placement for your shoulders, letting your shoulder blades slide down your back towards your hips by reaching your elbow pits toward one another, maybe the sky. Seeing if you can press into all the fingers and the palms of your hands, pressing your hips away from your hands, and then pressing in to your legs, activating the quads here. Take a big full belly breath in here. And exhale, release any tension in your head. Go ahead and shake your head yes or no. And then start to walk your hands back towards your feet. Keeping your feet hips width distance. Making sure that your feet are parallel with one another. And as you stay here in your forward fold, bending generously through the knees, trying to get your belly to your thighs. Maybe grabbing opposite elbows for a ragdoll. Letting gravity stretch your spine here. Take a big belly breath in. And release any tension. If this is feeling easy for your hamstrings, you can start to straighten the legs, Play around with the weight more in the heels or the balls of the feet. One more breath here. And then release your elbows, your hands to the ground. Keeping that slight bend in the knees, we're going to roll up to standing, stacking one vertebrae at a time. Your head comes up last. And rolling your shoulders down and back. When you come up to standing, you can keep your feet hips width distance or start to walk them in slightly. Whatever's comfortable for you. We'll stand strong into Tadasana here, pressing into your feet, into the ground, and seeing if you can imagine a line starting at your ear and going down to your ankle, and crossing through each of your joints, your knees, your hips, and your shoulders. Seeing if you can stack yourself across that line. Bringing your hands down by your sides, palm faces each other or towards the front of the room. Here, pressing your feet into the ground, releasing the butt muscles slightly so that you can reach your low ribs and hip bones together and broaden across the chest, reaching your sternum to the sky. Standing tall. On your next inhale, sweeping your arms out and up overhead. And then on your exhale, folding forward, bending your knees to do so. You're going to inhale, half lift, fingertips to the outer shins. And then exhale, fold. With a long spine this time. Inhale, coming to standing, sweeping your arms out and up overhead. And then exhale, releasing your hands through center, down by your sides. We'll do that one more time. Inhale, sweep the arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Then go ahead and walk your hands back out to a downward facing dog. Walking your feet hips width distance, your hands shoulder width distance, pressing into your downward facing dog. And then shifting forward, coming into a plank position. Holding your plank for a moment here, seeing if you can tuck your tailbone slightly here so that you create a long line from your head to your heels and really pressing into your hands, seeing if you can get a stretch through the backs of your shoulders. Rounding that upper shoulder girdle up towards the sky, getting a nice stretch through the back. Waking up the core slightly here. One more breath. Big belly inhale. Exhale, hold. Bring your knees to the ground. Now slowly bend your elbows back towards your hips, brushing your upper arms by your ribs and come all the way down to the ground. Bringing your fingertips back in line with your nipples here, pressing the tops of your feet into the ground. And then we're going to press up into a low cobra. Inhale, peel your chest up off the ground. Bhujangasana. Take a moment here, nice back bend. See if you can roll your shoulders down, away from your ears, broadening across the chest. Maybe try and bring your shoulder blades closer together. And then exhale, release your head. Shifting your hips up and back through a child's pose. And then tucking the toes, pressing up to downward facing dog. Inhale, look forward in between your hands. Go ahead and walk your feet to meet your hands. See if you can walk your heels stepping first before your toes to get a nice hamstring stretch. And then folding forward, releasing any tension. On your next inhale, reach your arms out and up, come to standing, arms overhead. And then exhale, release your arms down by your side. Inhale, sweep the arms up, overhead. Bending your knees slightly to exhale, fold forward. Inhale for that half lift. Fingertips to the outer edges of your shins. And then exhale, plant your hands and step back to a plank. This time you can have your knees up or down, whatever works best for you. Wrapping those elbows in towards your ribs, shifting your weight slightly forward as you come down to a chaturanga or low plank, bending the elbows to 90 degrees. You're going to inhale into low cobra or upward facing dog. If you're an upward facing dog, just the hands and the feet are touching the ground. Broaden through the chest, reach your shoulder blades together. And then exhale, go over those toes into downward facing dog. So knowing what your vinyasa, whatever works for you, knowing that you can always go to low cobra, shifting back to child's pose. Modifying where you need. Making this practice your own. Looking forward in between your hands, shift to a plank and bring that right knee in towards your nose. Give it a kiss. And then maybe pop up onto those right fingertips and plant that right foot onto the ground in between your hands, keeping that knee in between the arms at all times if possible. Coming into a low lunge, go ahead and drop that back knee. Untuck the toes, or keep them tucked. And just shift forward and back here. Finding a nice stretch through the front left hip. Maybe shifting your hips back and walking your hands back towards your hips, working to straighten that right leg. Maybe bringing the toes off the mat and flexing them back towards your face. Coming into a half monkey. You can walk that front right heel forward if you need more stability through that back left leg. And then shift your hips side to side. See if you can find where your body needs that stretch in the hamstrings. Inhaling, coming up to those fingertips, reaching that chest long, spine long. It's okay if your knee is bent. It's all good. As long as you're feeling a nice stretch through the back of the leg. Maybe exhaling, folding forward. Maybe staying where you are. Maybe walking the hands towards your foot or back towards your hips, depending on if you want more of a stretch or more balance. Staying here for one more breath. Big belly inhale. And then exhale, start to shift your hips forward, coming back into that low lunge. Planting the left hand on the inside of that right foot on the ground, and then starting to peel yourself open, reaching that right hand to the sky. Feeling a nice stretch through the side, right hip. One more big belly inhale here. Feel that hand and foot and knee all rooting into the ground. And then exhale, plant your right hand on the outer side of your right foot. Tucking those left toes under, stepping back through your version of a vinyasa or straight to down dog. If you'd like to exhale to your chaturanga, inhale your upward facing dog. Exhale your downward facing dog. Holding here for a moment. Pressing into your hands and your feet. Finding that rooting. You start from the ground up. Pressing into your hands and your feet. And feeling the rest of your body light and long. And then on your next exhale, shifting forward into a plank. Bring your left knee in towards your nose. Maybe give it a kiss. Keeping it towards your chest. Maybe popping up onto those left fingertips to plant the left sole of your foot in between your hands. Keeping that knee in between your arms if you can. Go ahead and release that right leg to the ground. Maybe untuck the toes. Feeling your low lunge. Maybe shifting forward and back. Finding a stretch in that front right hip. When you're feeling ready, start to walk your hands back towards your hips, straightening out that front left leg, maybe walking the foot forward slightly, flexing those left toes, towards your face. Half monkey. Stretch the back of the leg, maybe shift your hips side to side to find that perfect hip position. Letting your body tell you where it needs the stretch. Popping up onto your fingertips, long spine here. Reach your chest towards your toes. Maybe staying here. Maybe folding forward. Maybe walking your hands towards your foot or back towards your hips. Playing around. This pose is called half monkey. It can't be that serious. Breathing into the back of that leg. Keeping a slight bend in the knee if you need. And then start to shift your hips forward, plant that left foot back into the ground, coming back into your low lunge position. Keeping that right hand planted on the mat, on the inner side of your left foot. And then start to reach your left hand to the sky, twisting open towards that left knee. Seeing if you can stack that right shoulder underneath of your left shoulder, making a line with your arm straight up and down. That's what you're reaching towards. That's the action. That might not be the position of your body, but that's the action. One more big belly breath in here. Finding some ease. And then exhale, release your left hand to frame your left foot. Popping up on to the back right toes. And then stepping your left foot back. You can go directly to downward facing dog or flow through your version of a vinyasa. Exhaling to chaturanga, knees up or down. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Few breaths here. Big belly inhales. And exhales. Noticing if the backs of your legs are feeling more open now, if your shoulders are feeling more open. Releasing your head, shaking it yes and no. Looking forward in between your hands. Step, walk, or float your feet in between your hands. And then on your inhale, come up for a half lift. Fingertips to the shins. Exhale, fold forward. With a long spine, come up to standing, sweeping your arms out and up overhead. And exhale your hands down through center in your Tadasana pose. Feeling grounded and rooted here, pressing through your feet, rooting down to the ground and rebounding, feeling your body light off of your feet. Inhale, sweeping your arms out and up. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale for a half lift. And stepping your feet back to a plank or shifting back into downward facing dog. If you'd like to flow through, lower down chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Shifting forward to plank, bringing your right knee into your chest. Maybe giving it a kiss again. Popping up onto those right fingertips, keeping your knee in between your arms. Go ahead and plant it in between your hands. Go ahead and release that left knee back down to the ground. Maybe untucking the toes. Coming up to your fingertips here, broadening through the chest, starting to look straight ahead. Feeling both outer hips reaching in towards each other to stabilize you here. Maybe bringing your hands to the top of your right thigh. Pressing down to reach your chest forward. If you need to shift back slightly to find a long spine, do so. Find a long spine here. Maybe sweeping your arms up and overhead. Big belly breath here. And then as you exhale, turn over to the right, bringing your arms out to a T in line with your shoulders. Maybe palms face the right as you turn your chest away to the right. Breathing here. And inhaling back through center, arms overhead. Holding your hands up overhead. If you want to play around with an awkward lunge, is what I call it, press so much into the top of your back left foot that your knee pops up onto the ground, but the top of the foot is still on the ground. And then exhale, release your knee, release your hands to either side of the foot. Stepping back into downward facing dog. Go right to the other side. Bring your left knee in towards your chest, maybe give it a kiss. Pop up onto those left fingertips to plant that left foot in between your hands. Release that right knee down to the ground. Maybe untuck the toes. Coming up to your fingertips, drawing through the chest, wrapping those shoulders back and down towards your hips, bringing those shoulder blades closer together to broaden through the chest here. Maybe inhale your hands to your thigh, on your left thigh. Maybe shifting forward and back, finding that place of balance. Still getting a nice stretch through the front right hip. Inhaling your arms up either side of your ears. One more breath here. And then as you exhale, turn your chest towards the left. Bring your hands out to a T in line with your shoulders. Maybe palms face the left. Breathing here. One more breath. And then inhale back through center. Arms up in line with your ears. And then exhale. Point your hands. Tuck those right back toes under. And step back to downward facing dog. Looking forward in between your hands. Go ahead and plant your knees onto the mat. And sit back onto your heels. We're going to do a little bit of a toe stretch here. So shifting your hips up and tucking your toes under. Try to bring the arches of your feet and your heels together. And then sit back onto your heels, stretching those toes out. If this ever becomes too intense, you can release the stretch and sit back down on your heels. Reaching your arms out to a T in line with your shoulders here. Go ahead and wrap, give yourself a big hug, wrapping both arms around you, your right arm underneath your left arm. And let's see if you can grab the backs of your shoulder blades here. Staying here if this is right for you, or start to bring your upper arms in line with your face. Maybe bringing the backs of the hands together, maybe crossing at the wrists and bringing the palms of your hands together for your eagle arms. Breathing here, maybe inhaling a slight back bend, reaching your arms up to the sky, finding that back bend through the upper back. Keeping your low back supported with your abdominal muscles here. Inhale, big belly breath. And then exhale. Release your arms, shake it out. Release your toes. If you sat through that, great job. But guess what? We're going to go on the other side now. Shift forward, tuck those toes back under. One more toe stretch. And go ahead and sitting up tall, long spine. Reach your arms out to the side, wrapping your arms, this time the left arm underneath the right, giving yourself a big hug. Maybe reaching back to hold on to your shoulder blades. Maybe reaching your forearms up towards your face, holding the backs of your hands together, or crossing at the wrists, palms together. Reaching those arms up to the sky, maybe finding a back bend through the upper back. One more breath. And then exhale, release. Release the toes. Shake it out. And then shift back into downward facing dog, planting the hands, tucking the toes under, shifting up and back to your downward facing dog. Looking forward. Bring your right knee in towards your chest, shifting your weight forward into a plank. And go ahead and plant that right knee behind the right wrist. And then see if you can flex that right foot and bring that shin as parallel to the short edge of your mat as you can. It never has to get any more parallel than it is when you first place it. And start to wiggle your left toes back, seeing if you can drop your hips down towards the ground for your pigeon. Maybe pressing the top of your left foot back. If your hips are popping up a lot, you can roll your mat up or place a block underneath your right hip to give yourself a little bit more stability here. Can you broaden your chest? Here, press into your fingertips. Be a proud pigeon. Coo if you can. If this feels great for you, you can start walking your hands out, away from your face, holding forward over that left shin. Or that right shin, excuse me. Flexing those right toes to protect that right knee. Coming down to your elbows, or bringing your head to the ground. Taking a big belly breath here. Maybe shifting your hips side to side slightly, letting gravity help you in the stretch. And just notice here, in these types of deep stretches, it can be pretty uncomfortable. If you feel any pain, go ahead and pull back, coming back up through seated. But if it's just discomfort, sit with it. Stretching through discomfort will feel good in the long run. Maybe coming up to fingertips, walking yourself back up, maybe reaching your left foot to the sky, maybe grabbing hold of that with your left hand for a nice quad stretch. If this is too intense, stay in your pigeon. Like this quad stretch pigeon feels pretty good. Breathing wherever you are. One more big belly inhale. And then exhale. Release that left foot if you had it up. Planting your hands into the ground. Tucking that back left toes under. To press it back into downward facing dog with that right foot high. Reach that right foot high to the sky. Go ahead and open the hips. Bend the knee. And give yourself a few little knee circles here. One direction. And then the other direction. And come back through downward facing dog when you're ready. Both feet, both hands on the ground, pressing into your hands and your feet. Looking forward, bringing your left knee into your chest. And your shin as parallel to this short front edge of your body as you can. Never has to be parallel. Flexing through that left foot to protect the left knee. Go ahead and walk that right foot back behind you. Making sure that it is straight back in line with your hip. And then untouch the toes, if that works for your body. Pressing into the fingertips. Here, sitting tall. If you need to roll up your mat or put a block under that left hip, find that adjustment. Props bring the floor closer to you. They're always a great idea. Inhaling, broadening through the chest. Your time to coo. Be a proud pigeon. And then maybe exhale, folding forward any amount. Maybe coming to the elbows. Maybe straightening the arms and bringing the forehead to the mat. Wherever you are, ease into that stretch. Stay here or popping up onto your fingertips. Maybe flexing that back right foot, bringing it up to the sky. Go ahead and bring your right hand to that right ankle for a nice quad stretch. Bringing it to the inner side of that right ankle. Or staying in your pigeon. Wherever you are, 2 more breaths. Big belly inhale. Exhale, release. Release that back foot if you had it up. Tucking that back, those back toes popping up on that back foot. Planting your hands into the ground and stepping back into three-legged dog, bringing that left leg up and back behind you. Stacking the hips open, bending that left knee. Give yourself some knee circles here, one direction, and then the other direction. And coming back to the still downward facing dog. Breathing into it. Look in between your hands, maybe walk them back towards your feet. And you can step through to a seat, or if you want to play around, bending the knees, exhaling, and jumping through to a seat. Legs long out in front of you. Sitting tall, planting your hands by your hips. Sitting tall for your Dandasana staff pose. Pressing your hands into the ground. Rolling those shoulders back and down. Broadening through the chest here. Flexing those toes back to wake up those hamstrings. And then release that work. Slowly roll down to your back. If you want to hug your knees into your chest one more time, give them a nice hug. Roll side to side. And then releasing your legs out long. For a nice Shavasana here. Bringing one hand to your belly and one hand to your chest. Maybe switching so it was opposite from how we started. So if you started with your left hand on your belly, go ahead and switch to your right hand on your belly. And as you let your feet fall open and away from your body, feeling the floor all along your back. And we'll do 3 rounds of a big belly breath. Inhale. Feel your hand rise over your belly. Keep that inhale going up into your chest. All the way up and hold for a second. And then exhale through the chest first. And then the belly. Inhaling. Belly to chest, hold, exhale, chest to belly. One more, inhale, belly, chest, hold, exhale, chest, belly, release. Release your hands to the ground, palms face up. Release any breath work. Let your breath come back to normal. Maybe tucking your chin in slightly to find a long spine all the way up through your neck. Releasing any effort here. Releasing tension around your eyes. Around your lips, let your tongue fall away from the roof of your mouth. Releasing the tension around your neck and your shoulders. Let your whole arms be heavy and supported by the ground. Release any tension in the belly or the hips. Letting your legs flop open. Be supported by the ground. Letting your elbows sink deeper into your skull. Feel into this quiet, supported. Start to wiggle the fingers and the toes. You can always stay in your Shavasana longer if you have time. But if you're ready, wiggling the fingers and the toes, maybe reaching the arms up over your head, reaching along from your fingers and your toes, just how we started. And then exhale, maybe bring your knees back into your chest. You can rock and roll up to a seat or roll over to your favorite side. Gently pressing yourself up to a seat. Coming up to a comfortable seated position, sitting tall, keeping your eyes closed here. Maybe bringing your hands together, maybe giving them a little rub together, feeling some warmth in between your hands, a little bit of warm friction. And then press both palms of your hands over your heart, pressing into this place of love and respect. I'm sending all of you love and respect. Or other words, namaste. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's always so much fun to do Tuesday morning yogas. I'll place some info in the description below if you're interested in donating. Venmo at Ev Weezer. 60% of the donations will go to, this week it'll be outdoor education and supporting people to get outside and enjoy the outdoors. And then 10% goes to the Buckeye Tree Lodge for letting me use this beautiful, wonderful space. So with that, have a great day, and thank you for tuning in.